All right, what's up, Huddle crew? Welcome to TISE 2024. Thank you, TISE, for putting together a podcast booth for us.
I know.
This
thing
was
is pretty
just
awesome.
this is just for the Huddle. Just kidding. This is pretty awesome. It's nice to have a place to launch from on this one. We're going to be talking with multiple training entities. Today we're starting with Mr. Steve Abernathy, who's with WFCA and director, I believe, at CFI. Is that correct? Or you might correct my title at
That's
CFI.
pretty close.
Okay,
Pretty
all
close.
right.
Yeah, I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the WFCA and Executive Director of CFI as well. So
Awesome.
Kind of carry two hats there in that sense.
Well, we thank you for your service. Every single time we're on the podcast, we are promoting training. We believe one of our core beliefs here is, that a well-trained installer is a better installer. We all three of us own flooring companies, and we've witnessed it. First off, secondly, when you talk about the installer shortage and all this stuff, there's really only one way you can shortcut as you bring in new people. You can't get better at anything without experience and education. That's the two paths.
They go hand in hand.
That's right. You can't fast forward experience, but you can fast forward training.
Right.
You can go get your R1. Maybe you just got in it 6 months later. Go do your R1. Go back out in the field, work for a while, do your R2. So, we're a big believer in training. Obviously Go Carrera is all about ingesting these trainings and producing a hammer rating that's easy to understand for the people out there looking for labor. All that being said, gentlemen, welcome. This is awesome. So, as always, it's a pleasure. Steve, can you give us a bit of a background on CFI, kind of how we got here today, and then what is CFI's vision on bringing in new people into the industry, but also your core competency is being awesome at training. So how does CFI continue that legacy of being awesome at training?
Great. Well, first of all, let me thank you guys for your support of installation training. I mean, it's a huge benefit to the industry for you to keep carrying that torch and involving us. Thank you for inviting us to come on the podcast.
Yeah, our pleasure.
It's a great honor for us to be on.
Making everybody blush. Look at that. Come on.
No, I mean, it really is. I mean, we love the opportunity. We always relish the opportunity to get to talk about what our passion is, and that is, installation training with CFI. WFCA got involved in CFI about 9 years ago, close to 9 years ago, in late 2015, early 2016, and we purchased CFI at the time and made it a division of WFCA. But WFCA had been involved in CFI for years and years before that. Big supporter. I mean, we were a huge supporter, and we had the opportunity to integrate that into WFCA as a division of WFCA. So we did that, and it's one of the things that we have been committed with, not just of late, but for years on end. And we continue that commitment to it because we believe that it's important to the industry. And so, we set out in that time frame to look at what would CFI do? What would it do differently? How would we, manage the organization? How would we look at the strategic focus of it? And we really broke it out into a couple of different tracks. Of course, CFI at its core is a training organization, but we also have a membership component of that, which is, for us, it was just an astonishing thing to see the brotherhood of CFI when we first got exposed to it. I mean, sisterhood now as well. I mean, it's amazing how many ladies we have coming into the organization. So it was just it was a different feel than you normally see. It's like a big family, and we really love that. We want to try to keep that in the organization because I think that connection to each other and that networking opportunity between the members of the organization is a key part of their experience with CFI. And I think we want to keep driving that. So we are a membership organization, and we are very appreciative and excited to engage with our members. But at our core, we are a training and certification organization. So we we train, but we also believe strongly in certification. That certification is a key component because if you're going to train someone, you need the credentials to go along with that. Those credentials establish the fact that you have completed a course of study, and that credential is the evidence to say that I am proficient at this. And I think that's a very important thing for an installer to have. So we believe not only in training, but we believe ultimately you should seek certification.
Yeah, absolutely.
To credential yourself. And so we do both of those. But there's two tracks of training that we do. The first track is what sort of the core of what CFI had done for years, and that is the training and certification of existing installers. So installers that have been in the field for some time, we would do continuing education type of training. We still do much of that today, whether that be floor prep, whether that be specific skill sets by for carpet or whatever it may be. A heat welding class for resilient. There's specific skill sets that continue to build that maybe you didn't have to start with. But then we also do certification courses where we do a certification training combination where they're getting some training and then they're testing for their certification. And of course, that testing is a twofold test. It's a written test for your knowledge, but also a skills test.
Hands test.
You got to show. You got to demonstrate. You got to demonstrate that. You got to show what you can do before you get those credentials. Those credentials have to have integrity about them, which means you've got to test, you got to hold a standard by which that you issue those. So we have that track, which is the continuing education leading to certification. Of course, to get certification, we have a minimum 2-year requirement to get your R1 or C1 in carpet, for example. And so you have to have that experience in the field typically to be able to sit for that certification test and go through that training. However, we began another track, which is really sort of trying to address the longer-term need of the issue we have in the floor coating industry.
The labor shortage, right?
The labor shortage.
I love what you guys are doing here with these introductory, bring them in, short-term courses. My flooring company's had a few people go through the 2-week course. I mean, those kinds of things. I think that's where you're leading, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And what we did is, we started that track of education, which is designed for very, very entry level, no experience necessary. You can come right out of high school and go into those programs. And of course, we partnered with FCICA. WFCA was instrumental in setting up FCICA, which is the Floor Covering Education Foundation, which is helping fund that education.
Yeah, Jim, Aaron, and Kate. They're great.
Yeah, they're great. So we partnered with them and helped create that organization, and so that we could have a means by which we could fund, that education for them, because it is an impediment, for education. Education is not cheap. It's not free. Somebody has to pay for it.
Yeah,
in that sense of the way. And this was a way for the industry to get involved in that. And of course, CFI was right there at the very beginning of it. But we set up those courses. We have morphed into several different entry-level courses to bring kids in either right out of high school, or maybe if they want to change careers, they can get in there and learn it. Everything from a 1-week introductory class to a 2-week class, all the way up to we do a 5-week course, which takes them from very, very basic skills that might be for a helper all the way to the point of installing flooring, and they can reach certification if they get 200 hours of education over 5 weeks. That's quite a bit of class.
That's a big training.
It's a big training.
Just to clarify, that 5-week course, it doesn't mean you're going to come out, blowing and going, trying to kill a mold job, but I think the kind of standard is you could go install a hallway and 2 rooms off of it very efficiently.
2 or 3 bedrooms or something like that.
It's still a Kickstarter.
No, that's wonderful, but just to clarify,
that's right. They are involved in 5 weeks of nothing but hands-on training, paperwork, education. Like, I think we're going to have a couple of our guys who've been working for a little bit go and do that, because the time it saves us.
Yep.
But I do like the way you're going, the path that this is all taken when you have this really core offering and now you're bringing in some more introductory courses, because if we're going to attack this thing, we got to have as many entry points into the industry as possible.
And you gotta minimize the barriers to entry. So you got to take away maybe the restraints or the things that might impede them from getting involved. So if they can't take a 5-week course, they could take a 1-week course
or a
2-week course,
right? And then
that credits toward their 5 weeks of experience if they want to do that, or 5 weeks of their 5-week training
right.
course.
And I think right now is a good time, because you talk about installers, and we've been fighting for years to up the installer pay, right? So the money is a huge deal in training. And I think right now is good to talk about the FCEF and what they're doing right now with the 100 and 100.
Yeah. So there is a promotion running right now with the Full Covering Education Foundation. So that for 100 days, we were going to scholarship the first 100 students to apply and get approved for scholarship in this period of time we're in right now. It runs till about the 9th of March, I
right?
believe. Is the end of that, yeah. And so they would be able to get 100%, which is, it's normally 50%. So during that promotion, they can get 100% coverage on the cost of the course, as long as it's $2,500, which is their limit. So we structure a series of 1- and 2-week courses that would fit into that, to be able to allow the students to come in and get 100% scholarship. So
that's
really
awesome. That's awesome that you guys did that, because like I said, the cost is huge when you're talking about installers, and especially when they're entry level, when they may be coming right out of high school and not have those funds. That's right.
So it's a good program, a great program. We're very excited about that. We have I can't remember off the top of my head how many we've already had to go through that, but we are continuing to add students to that, continuing to add locations to that. But the 1- and 2-week classes are a little bit more bite-sized for them, and they can get started. I will tell you this, in 2 weeks' time, for sure, we can create a pretty good helper in that time frame. That has, I mean, you think about it. I mean, that's in 2 weeks' time, you're getting 80 hours of instruction.
I can attest in 2 weeks.
You can get in 2 weeks' time, you can get to the helper level, much higher level, probably a year's worth of experience or more for a helper in 2 weeks, if they're intensely being trained for that 2 weeks. They learn the trade, they learn the tools, they learn some of the techniques, they learn, the terminology, all of those things, and they get the safety side of it. You get those first 2 weeks out there, now you've got a helper that you can place in the field, and they can start getting experience. As you said, you can accelerate the education, you can't accelerate the experience.
That's right.
Said. They still got to get that experience, but it's a good start for those that can get.
Yeah, and for all the companies out there, look, here's the deal. I like the 2-week course because it gives us something to get a real feel for. So when we had several guys go through one of the 2-week courses, guys from completely different industries, and we set up this program at the flooring company I own, where we would pay for their 2 weeks of being there, their salary or their wages for those 2 weeks, as long as they completed the course and was there every day. And then that would be written as a loan to them. If they stayed at the company for 6 months, then the loan's forgiven in 6 months. And we got 2 of them out of that deal. But
it's great.
But what really, the reason I like the 2 week, the reason I mentioned that is at 2 weeks, I was able to talk to the instructor a little bit and garnered like where 1 week seemed a little tight. They were like, he seems pretty good, but that second week, I was able to get real good feedback. That's like, yeah, this guy's actually, you definitely want to hire him and keep him on. So you get 2 weeks seems to be that freaking sweet spot for these entries.
It is, and you think about it. In 1 week's time, you probably figure out whether this is for me or not in the first week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is why the third guy started flaking off in week 2.
The second week, you figure that out, and you really start to get serious about the trade, and you get serious about, hey, this could be my future, and it can be a future. It's a phenomenal future, as you guys know. I mean,
That's where we all
workforce-
started.
That's where
So
you guys started, and the work is there. The career is there. The career path is there. And I think that's one of the things we've been challenged with is communicating that career path. What is it? You come in and, you're not going to be on your knees forever. I mean, look what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, even if you, I enjoy getting back down there every now and again. I mean, I
it's way
do.
easier. I always say that it's
There-
way easier.
There's a lot of benefits to the mindset
Yeah.
that you got to be in the office and doing, business stuff. I love the just engagement into the product and
Yeah.
stuff when I get the chance to install. Earlier when the panel was on the TISE stage, Jen said something, about the free installation that a lot of the, big boxes push. I don't know what can be done in the industry level. These are private or publicly held companies that have their own
Yeah.
methods of sales.
They
But
do.
to the, if you're out there and you are thinking about getting, flooring for your house, I promise you, those
It
guys
is
are
not
not
free.
working for free.
No.
So it's a gimmick. Quit falling for it.
Well, I know that each retailer, makes decisions on how they go to market, and how they
Yeah.
price things and things like that. But it does somewhat diminish or minimize the value of installation in the sales, in this whole sales
Well,
process.
The people
and the
doing it.
purchase. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, the most important thing is the installation.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you got to have great product, but great product is nothing. It's in a box.
Yeah.
The experience of this is in my house, that's on my floor, that's the install.
Well, I've heard it said, a great product installed by a bad installer
That's
or having a bad install,
Yep.
that's horrific. But
Yeah.
a inferior product installed by a great installer, and you still can end up with a good floor.
That's
Like,
exactly right.
that's how important installation is.
Yeah. So we're trying to get that message out, and I'll just mention this. 2023 for us was a phenomenal year. We had a record year in 2023 with CFI. We had our membership growth was staggering.
Attendance was up at the last
Our
convention.
attendance
Yeah.
and just the whole buzz at convention was phenomenal.
That was
It
great.
was one of the best conventions we've had in decades. That's the message that I got. But the most important was training, and we grew training last year in a huge way. And we're coming off of that momentum in 23, and we're going to be pushing hard for 24. We're amping up our schedule of training, and the thing about it, we're talking about the 2-week courses. The 2-week courses, the 5-week courses, the 1-week courses, the certifications, we bring them to the market. In other words, we come to where the students are. So we really want to partner with retailers and dealers and distributors in those marketplaces to establish training.
I have a question on that,
Yeah.
right? And for any of the retail stores or any of the companies that are interested in hosting one of these trainings, whether it's the 2-week or the 5-week, are these classes that would be kind of tailored to what they're looking for as far as installation needs, commercial, residential, or is it going to be kind of a cookie cutter template and maybe some room for adjustment to customize it?
We certainly want to meet the needs of the partner that's hosting us. If we are partnering with a retailer and they have a specific need, we will bring that need to them. We have a catalog, quite extensive catalog of all kinds of training from every product category to residential and commercial at all levels up and down the experience side of it. So we have something that would fit just about every need out there. If there's something specific they want training on, that's not a problem. We've got a lot of highly.
But you do have to have a system, TISE. I mean,
Sure,
you got to have
you
a
gotta have
standardized curriculum.
There is a standard.
And you got to have that stuff, and then you can maybe have some add-ons or
We can tweak
whatever.
it. That's
Yeah.
right. We can bring this into it, supplement it, and we can absolutely do that because we've got a network of trainers that are second to none. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the best in the business, and very proud of them. Very thankful for their help.
Well,
They're
as
doing
we're nearing our time here, I want to give you a chance to tell us, new guys watching, how does a new guy and maybe like the guys I sent to the 2-week course, they weren't out of high school, but they were in a whole different trade. So
Sure.
how do we
That's
get
perfectly
involved?
fine.
What's the lowest barrier of entry for me to get, hey, I want to be in flooring. What's my next step?
So the first step would be to go to our website. So we keep everything on the website. All of our schedules are out there. Information about the classes, our catalogs are out there. So if I'm an entry-level installer looking to get into the trade, I would first go to our website, cfiinstallers.org. And at that website, you'll see a schedule of our events, descriptions of all those courses. You would want to look for the 1 or 2 week, 1, 2, or 5 week entry-level courses. And we host those, as I say, all around the country at various times. And sign up for one of those. That'll get you started. That'll get you into the trade. And you just go beyond that, once you get in the door. I will say this, we also have generally no problems placing people into jobs. I mean, this is not hard to get a job in this industry right now.
Yeah.
And if you can get that education, it's sort of your ticket into the door for, to differentiate you from somebody just walking off the street that has no education whatsoever. You go in and say, hey, I've been through this course. So that entry-level course, you'll find them on our website. As I said, we host them in various places.
It's like the appetizer.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
figure out if you want to be
Yep.
in the business, start
Yep.
off with that 1, 2, 5 week course,
Absolutely.
wet your whistle and figure out if flooring's for you. Because
Yeah.
we're not acting like every single person that wants to be in the trades is going to find flooring appealing, but I loved it. Right. You loved it.
Yep.
You loved it. I mean, we're out there. We just got to get them connected, get that appetizer in you, and then, get placed with the company and continue your education.
It's remarkable how many kids coming out of high school don't realize this is a career opportunity.
Yeah.
They just don't realize it's there. But if we can educate them, and that's what FCEF is trying to do, is trying to educate them about the opportunities in flooring, and if we can show them, how good a career this can be. It's a professional career.
Yeah.
And if they approach it professionally, and that includes education.
And leave the limited mindset away. And I'm going to say something here just super quick.
Yeah.
The value, if you take all the square footage sold, flooring seems small because we're all just in this group together and
Right.
we love each other, whatever, right? There's $40 billion of labor value done every year.
That's right. That's right.
$40 billion of flooring labor value every single year. So the opportunity is there. And if you're wanting to get involved in a trade where you really want to show your hand skills and you enjoy like stepping back and seeing that finished product, that was my reward. I know we talked about this on, there's so much satisfaction in that. I challenge anybody to find a trade that requires more hand skills. This is the place for you. So go to cfiinstallers.org.
Yep.
And I'm sure we popped up that on our live stream here.
You could also give us a call too.
Yeah, or just give a call. Pick up the old phone.
We'll talk to you all about it and tell you where you can get trained and where you can come into this career.
Yeah, let's get going, guys.
Steve,
Again,
we
CFI
Appreciate
installers.org. Steve, thanks for joining us
Thank
today.
you for being so patient.
Yeah, our technical difficulties.
We got the tech figured out now.
It's my fault.
All right, thanks a lot, Steve.
So, Mr. Who we got next?
I think we got Mr. Paul Pleshek stepping up to the plate.
Paul. Mr. Houdini himself. Just there 1 minute, gone the next.
Hello.
Yeah, you don't get to say any dirty jokes, Paul. We're live the entire process here, so.
I hope we're on the delay.
You know what he does? He probably has the best voice for this. I don't. Before of us sitting
Well,
here.
it's that Wisconsin accent.
Is that what it is? You can understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, I'll remind
We're right
everybody,
next door.
eat
So.
the mic, and let's get going. Paul, welcome. I think that you've been seen the Huddle before. Have you been on yet? Have we had you on
No, I
yet?
was looking forward to it. I enjoyed talking to you guys. Nice meeting your mom last night, by the way. I know she was here a little while ago. But
She's probably driving around
Yeah,
crashing.
she's driving
stuff.
around Migo.
failed us. Learned what a chuckle was.
Well, welcome.
Chancla.
Chancla. All right. Well, welcome to the Huddle, man. Today's episode is all about training. Like, if you have not been on the Huddle, but if you watch the Huddle at all, this is a staple of us. We believe in training. We believe in the fact is that we know that uncles train nephews. To us, that doesn't eliminate the need for standardized training and meeting the industry standard when it comes to that. So welcome and thank you for coming. I want to get your feedback on what we were talking about a little bit earlier about bringing the new guys in and what the NAFCT's approach is to, given the lowest barrier of entry for these new guys and gals looking to get into this industry.
Yeah, well, we've really approached the industry as that in order to have a successful installation, you really have to start with something. Bottom line is that if you don't have that perfect base to start with, you're going to have excellent hand skills, you can be an excellent installer, but at the end of the day, the likelihood of that being a successful installation is pretty low. So we started with that. Our education overall is very incremental. So on the resilient side, for example, you have to come in and take the subfloor course in order to go and take the LVT course, the modular resilient course. Then you move on to the sheet goods course and well, flash code, and work your way through that industry on that side of it incrementally. So you can grow, like we talked about, everybody will talk about career path. Where do you go when you get into this industry? And I think that really what we've tried to focus on with most of our efforts of bringing people into the industry is to make education an expectation, right? I think when you look at installation, if the perception of it is that it's just a labor job, it's, in the category with roofing and drywall and painting, then what's your career path with that? In my opinion, it's absolutely not. It's a skilled trade. You're working with tens of thousands of dollars worth of material. If you make a mistake, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you don't do it right, and on top of that, you're a craftsman, right?
Yeah.
You put that flooring in, and you put that flooring in well, it takes skill to do it properly. So
absolutely.
And a lot of knowledge too, right? Like that's a discredit to the flooring industry is that we have to be scientists as well. We have to understand, and this is probably geared more towards commercial, but we have to understand the science behind the lot. And what you said, the subfloor, right? Start with a strong foundation. That's everything.
Yeah, you don't build a house on a strong foundation, it's going to fall over, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what the NAFCT is looking at. You gotta start at that base and work up, and looking at the subfloor, it's where everyone has to start.
Yeah.
And I remember when the class became public and it came out and we had a conversation, we were like, we started totally backwards. We started at the top and working our way down. And it was like, man, but this, it being required as a prerequisite to the resilient class, like, it was like,
well, it makes sense. Resilience about the most, let me say the least tolerant or most temperamental when it comes to subfloor, discrepancies and issues. So,
absolutely. And we've also tried to bring in some more specialized areas within the industry. Some people may as well announce it here, but we'll very, very shortly we'll have the moisture mitigation certification. So for concrete subfloors, when you got to have them tested and they failed, what do you do now? And there are so many options out there, and there's so many ways to address that. We put together a class that's going to teach how to identify the best process for any given failure and for the floor covering you're putting on. Right? There's a difference between what you're going to do underneath a vinyl floor versus carpet, for example.
Yeah.
So that next certification, that'll be out shortly. That'll be delivered by our education partners like Art Expo Pay and Late.
Yeah, let's walk through that a little bit. Tell us about your approach to the education and how you guys go about your trainings and certifications and curriculum building. I mean, what's the NAFCT's approach with that?
So one of the things that we identified early on, and we've known growing in the industry with the co-founder, I'm a co-founder with Sunny County. We got together, we were working with an educational business doing training, and we decided to turn it into an association. So we co-founded the NAFCT as National Association for Covering Technicians. But what we identified in all of our work, between the two of us, we worked with and served on boards for, committees for 7 or 8 different industry associations. And we work with a lot of manufacturers. We've seen how much that manufacturer training was truly technical in nature with the sales aspect, right? It wasn't a sales training with a little bit of technical. These were classes that we were going to that were excellent. But at the end of the day, you couldn't get any sort of credential for it. You couldn't get any sort of thing you put on your business card or on your website that showed that you knew how to work with a floor covering or subfloor. So we went to, God forgive me if I forget any of them, but we went to McKay, Ardex, Stonex, Beta Creek, and Mongalo, and IC Logic. I apologize if I did. And we brought them all together, and we put together the subfloor plan. So now, as our educational partners, now all of those companies can go teach the exact same program across the board. So it's all standardized when they give that program. But we do also give them the room to be able to say, okay, well, we're talking about self-levelers. Well, here's ours.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Give them the ability to do a product, I won't say demonstration, but a product placement while they're doing the education.
Right, and you guys are bringing in a lot of manufacturers, and I think that's one of the things that people look at is, why would I go get certified over here and pay this money when this certain manufacturer has a training that I can go do? And sometimes they are free, right? I mean, most manufacturers offer the free training. But when you bring in when you bring in a handful of manufacturers and it's recognized by all of them, because a sheet vinyl, for instance, can be translated through different manufacturers. The adhesive is different, the notch is different, but the installation method is the same. And to put something together like that is recognized by many manufacturers is pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, it's a unique approach, and the more the merrier.
Absolutely.
Right, and these are niche trainings. Like, I say niche, I mean, we're talking sheet vinyl. If you're in healthcare, it's like the product. But what I'm getting at is generalized training is your subfloor, and then you build upon that. If you want your modular resilient training, boom. You want to do you require that before you do the sheet goods?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to have that subfloor for everything.
No. I meant, do you have to do the modular resilient training to do sheet goods?
No.
It's probably best. Just FYI.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious.
There's levels to the
there's definitely levels to it. And one would make the other one easier if you had some basic knowledge and then graduating to the next difficulty. Yeah.
You do have to be experienced in the industry to take the sheet goods course. You're not going to walk in as a new. So if you've had to have some time working with it, we'd recommend it. But the more important thing to us with the sheet goods work is that you've got some experience in that arena and kind of understand what the tools are, what you're doing. You can ask Andrew about those.
Yeah. Well, we know you got a great trainer. Well, so
Divergent, that's the one I forgot.
Divergent. Hey,
sorry, Sonny.
I'll give you a shout out, Sonny. I mean, Paul, the other Paul. No, just kidding.
That's a party bomb.
So, what's the easiest way for people to get involved? If I'm brand new to the industry, I don't have to be high schooler, but I'm in a different industry, and I'm looking up trainings in flooring or flooring career. How does the NAFCT come into play to kind of yank those opportunities out of the market?
So if somebody's looking into flooring as a business, like I said, I think that one of the biggest things that we can do to draw people in is to really improve the image of the industry. Not the image, the perception.
Yeah.
The perception, 100%.
I think we're working really hard on that in an effort to try to reach people. I think we've got a more modern approach to it. So our subfloor course, for example, that's 6 hours worth of online training and 1 day in person. So we're trying to make it so that I grew up, there wasn't any such thing as online training. But I think everybody that comes into an industry has an expectation that that's available to them. I also think that if an industry looks antiquated, that is kind of a turn off to people that are looking for a new industry to come into. So they're looking for cutting edge devices, and they're looking for
technology. Work on their phone. Go Carrera. You know, yeah, trying to look. This generation, if we're talking about the youth, they have literally, they're the first generation, I believe, that
they were born with
they
a
were
phone in their
born
hands.
with the phone, with internet access, with like high-speed internet access on your
a computer
device,
in your
like,
pocket.
yes. So it only makes sense that you have to have a modern approach to the way you reach out to them, the way you train. So I like that.
Absolutely. We're really working hard to make sure that we're accessible in every way, shape, and form. We try to make sure that our flight classes are affordable. We try to keep the price down that our sub-floor course is $100.
$100.
And it's a great course. We've talked about it plenty of times.
$100 to give yourself a great foundation, a great start.
Dude,
Understand
that's
like,
worth it
come
if you're just thinking about doing your kitchen by yourself. I mean, yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, we approach with that. We're also trying to get people in. We're doing. I'm going to steer to the summit if that's okay.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm already on the summit.
That's our next topic.
But we're trying to pull people in. We're trying to have affordable education that's out there where we can bring people together to network and work together. You know, there's so many excellent organizations. We're working on pursuing a conversation that was started at
FCICA,
CFI.
There's a lot of acronyms in this business, you guys, so sorry if it's a little confusing.
And Wagner Meters is commenting on the post too to get over here to the summit, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Jason could just come and step outside here.
Yeah, get to the summit. So tell us a little bit about the summit. The summit's, more training, installer focused. Give us a little bit about how that came to be, and what can we expect out of the summit? Because we're going to be there.
One of the things I love right now going on in the industry, there's a lot of areas where everybody's trying to cooperate. Right, we brought up FCICA and CFI. They brought that up right away. They just had their convention together last year. We're working with Robert Barden as well as Unite. So we're joining together to put together the summit. And so we each put together a day of education. We're going to have a half a day of a trade show. It's our first one, so,
Hey, got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. We actually already have the dates planned, same for next year. So that's
okay, so...
Oh, wait, I want another announcement. There you go. You get the scoops today. But yeah, we got, so I've got the list here so I don't forget anybody this time. But we've got presentations, we've got concrete overview mixed designs with Dean Kraft. Dean Kraft from ISM. Knows more about concrete than I've ever known. We've got Seth Kavarnik talking about causes, remedies of concrete slab imperfections, going back to subfloors.
Seth with Ardex, right?
Yep. We got Lee Phillips. I think he's from professional testing down in Dalton. He's going to come and give a presentation. Right now, with so much vinyl product that's out there, there's not really, even through inspections, if you go and you have a piece of material and you can't find any installation or site-related issues with it, doesn't always necessarily mean the product's bad. You still got to send it in for testing. So I think we'll have him talking a lot about what kind of tests you can do on vinyl to find out if it's within manufacturer's parameters.
So are these seminars? Will these be like seminar kind of
classroom settings?
Yeah,
classroom setting. Okay.
Yep. Sonny Callahan's going to talk about ASTM. We got Scott Banda talking about FloorCloud, and Robert Barden talking about seaming of the hand-made carpets. Okay.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's going to be substrate flooring failures with Lou Miglior. That's going to be a new angle if you ever met Lou Miglior.
Yeah, Lou's awesome.
He's a wealth of information and not afraid to talk about things that are sometimes taboo to talk about in the industry. So
yeah,
and that's what we're all about.
Amen. Yeah. I get Lou's report, man.
It sounds like a fountain of knowledge is going to be available for everyone.
A lot of conversation. Come join in on that conversation. The more voices we can get, the better. And that's what this podcast is built on. It's the voice of the installer. We're not going to be quiet anymore. Let's kind of disrupt the industry and ask these hard questions, especially when the manufacturers are going to be there. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, let's do it. So it's going to be in Dalton, correct?
Dalton, February 22nd and 23rd.
Well,
A lot of help.
we look forward to that, Paul, and thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul. All right.
Next.
Out with the second Paul. In with CJ.
Hi,
Hi, CJ.
how's it going?
It's going fantastic. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So CJ is with the FCICA.
And we'll let you tell us what that means.
The Floor Covering Installation Contractors Association is what it stands for. And our tagline is the flooring contractors. So
Yeah, so heavy focus on commercial floor covering contractors and how they can improve their business and you know, be more successful in the marketplace.
Yep.
How do you guys look at installation training and the things going on? How do you guys get involved with that?
so we're doing a lot of industry partnerships and supporting installation training. We've last fall we did our first joint convention with CFI. And we're
Lot of
doing it
fun.
again this
Lot of
year.
fun.
That
It
was
a
a
lot
great
of fun. If you weren't
conference.
there, make sure you come this year. It's going to be starting October 1st, back at the Rose in Shingle Creek in Orlando.
Great place.
It is, yeah.
Really hot.
But in October, it's better.
Yeah.
It is.
And yeah, so we're going to be doing it again this year. That's kind of a big change we made supporting installation training.
Yeah. Well, I knew the answer, obviously, because I was at FCICA and CFI, but you guys teaming up with CFI, to me, all that can do is improve your current members and their businesses. We all rely on labor to you know, get our products down.
Right.
We're really good at selling stuff, and we're really good at like talking to designers and scheduling stuff with general contractors. But we are all limited by what we can get installed in a professional manner. So I love that the FCICA teamed up with CFI and did that joint convention.
It was meant to be.
It was so fun.
It was, and kind of like what Paul was getting at earlier, right? You're looking at the evolution of a career and how an installer can have their career, you know, the next step. What is the next step? And I think the FCICA is paramount in that, especially with the SIM program. I went through it. He went through it. Paul's about to go through it at some point.
I will, I promise.
Great, I'll sign you up.
But yeah, I think, you know, if we talk about that career evolution, and I think that's where CFI or FCICA comes in with CFI. It's, you know, you start out as an installer and you have to see the progression of a career, and I think that's where you guys come in.
Yeah, definitely.
And just a
Same
little
program.
plug for that is actually where Paul and I met. So this relationship and this podcast actually came about because of
Well,
us
I
meeting
think technically
at the
we met
FCICA.
here at TISE, but that's where you guys kind of connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
FCICA.
So FCICA's has a mid-year convention, and so will there be just an FCICA convention this year and the joint convention, or is it just?
Yeah, so we're going to do, we're flapping our normal time of years for our convention. So typically FCICA's convention is in March. And then the mid-year meeting, which is similar format with like education and product demos, but not a trade show and with a plant tour instead. It's usually in the fall. So we're flapping that now. So this year we have our March, we're calling it our spring mid-year meeting. And then next year maybe we'll just drop the mid-year. It's not really midway through the year. So that's in Dalton. And so that will be, we have some great education sessions lined up, some product demos, and then we'll be touring a Shaw and Mohawk plant while we're there.
Gotcha. What's it? What do you think about all of the talks? Did you happen to pick up or catch the panel earlier that was on stage?
No, I didn't.
It was really good. You know, the whole training thing, because here on the Huddle, I mean, we talk about it. If you've caught any of our episodes, we talk about it constantly. I'm a floor covering contractor. I own a flooring company, as you know, back in Wichita. We're a member of FCICA. We've got guys that we've sent through CFI's trainings, and even had some SIM guys go through for our managers. it's all education, but the real challenge that seems to be, you know, being cried from the mountains is not just, we've heard installation shortage forever, but it seems like stuff is happening and things are starting to actually take hold. Steve Abernathy earlier was talking about how 2023 was a paramount year for them. They trained more people, they got more members. What is FCICA's role in not just teaming up with CFI, but how? I know some of the answers to this, but how do you guys encourage your members to hire trained guys and if you have in-house employee installers, send them to training and things like that? Do you have education sessions around or planned for your flooring contractors to like really engage? Because I think that's the rally cry, is like the flooring contractors and the retailers need to get engaged with these training entities to start supporting the FCEF and these other efforts out there, and send your people to the training. That's what helps with the training industry, right? So what's your guys' approach? You got any plans for the mid-year? Did I say that right?
Yeah, the mid-year. Actually, one of our education sessions at the mid-year meeting is recruiting and retaining employees and installers. And another entity that we work with, another industry partner, is Install. And they, Steve McCool with Install, is helping helping with the content for that education session, as well as some of our other, flooring contractors.
Yeah, you guys also, just to make sure that this gets covered, you have some free resources for your members to properly train their installers in-house, even some curriculum stuff. I know I've gotten some of it, like some of the flooring installation training curriculum that you can I mean, if you're not going to go to the training entities, that's how I kind of took that. But it's still about training the installer, right?
Yeah, the FIT. Are you talking about the FIT program? Yeah. It's like a in-house training program. So it's kind of like a train the trainer, and you can train your employees using your materials, like train your installers using whatever materials they'll be using on the job.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today. When is the next convention, and how do flooring contractors that have not engaged with the FCICA?
And one other thing too, it's they said don't forget about the next regional meeting, February 16th.
Yeah, February 16th in Stockton, California, at Ardex. And Wagner Meters, I don't know if Jason commented that he's doing one of the education sessions there. It's on like subfloor prep and moisture mitigation. So FCICA, we started doing these regional meetings after COVID, in between our large in-person meetings, to get our members together in person, more frequently throughout the year. So they're free to members and non-members.
Wow.
Yeah, and
awesome.
they're hosted at different facilities. So February 16th in Stockton, California, if anyone is available to go. It's a one-day, like 9 to 3 type of training, and yeah, that'll be great. And then we have the mid-year meeting coming up in Dalton. Before the 2 days before the mid-year meeting, we're going to be doing a 2 days to SIM. So if anyone would like to send people through an in-person SIM, we both did your SIMs in person.
Yeah, he did it when it was 3 days.
Yeah.
I got lucky and waited till it was 2.
That's probably because the evolution again, right? Like
yeah, it's the evolution of everything.
Get people who are a little bit smarter. They don't need 3 days.
Something like that. Yeah. And we have another 2 days to SIM in New Jersey in April. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Check out our website.
Yeah.
So we have all our info.
And what's the website?
FCICA.com.
That's easy, folks. FCICA.com.
Yep.
CJ, thanks for joining us
Thank you,
today.
CJ.
I appreciate it. And
Thanks for waiting, being so patient.
yeah, thanks for your patience.
Anytime.
Yeah, they can all come right here. They can set up some chairs and stuff. Oh, that's a good idea.
As long as they don't mind being on camera.
What's up, Carlos? What you guys doing?
Dude, you're the first one here. The last one's out. I'm sorry, brother.
That's all right.
We had a couple technical difficulties at the beginning, but
It's my fault. I'll take the blame again.
Well, thanks for coming. Welcome to the Huddle. Carlos,
we've been talking about getting him on for a while now, and he's just a busy guy. So
Carlos is with the NFACP or ACAP.
Yep, NFCAP.
NFCAP.
NFCAP. No cap though.
Carlos, welcome, man. I've talked to you a little bit, gotten to know a little bit about what you guys do. Tell the audience what is NFCAP. I'm going to use that from now on, by the way. Yeah. So tell me about your approach to training. What's going on over there?
What are you about?
What you about?
You know, in our industry, the way that we see ourselves is we're more of a feeder. You know, we're out there looking for the next generation and tap into a youth that one doesn't know what they want to do in life. So we present them the flooring industry. You know, we do like an 8-week intro to flooring. They do carpet, tile, wood flooring, resilient, and then from there they choose if they want to do one of those routes. And some they say, no, I don't want to do this. I'm going to be an electrician. I want to be a plumber. So we're kind of helping them out make a decision in life. Then after that, we find a local contractor that wants to, you know, hire an apprentice and follow the standards.
Yep.
And just keep training them for the next 3 to 4 years. That can be their, you know, lead installer, journeyman, or they can transition to sales or marketing one day, grow. You never know, right?
Or owner.
Yeah,
right?
or an owner. I know they want, some of them here want to be their own flooring contractor, have their own company.
Absolutely.
Well, all of us started at the
at the
as an installer. I was
at
a
the bottom.
helper, and moved on. I became, you know, the best at sheet vinyl. No, I mean I was a helper, and I fell in love with, you know, we did a lot of hospital work, so I fell in love with flash code sheet vinyl, and that's where I ended up getting my certifications. I know this man's the same kind of path and love. This dude's a master of disaster and does all kinds of stuff. But the point is that there's, once you get a skill like that, it really gives you the confidence that you can go do whatever within this industry. But get that skill right, you know, get some years of installation under you, and then doors will open up.
Absolutely.
So,
And I think one of the key things that I'm taking away from what we were talking about is that you actually give them every segment of the industry, and you're like, do you like any of these ones? And then you give them that choice. It's either, yes, I like this one, let's specialize, or no, I don't like any of them. All right, let's see what other programs work for you. Correct.
And we've had some communication too. Like, I know that there's been a little bit of a gap in it, right? Like, fill this out, or it's not working. But we have talked about customizing. Like, hey, you called me and said, what is it do you need as a company? What would benefit your company the most from a training aspect and knowledge point if you were to have someone start tomorrow? What would you need them to know? What would you like them to know?
Right.
And being able to customize some of that, like you said, introduce them to all the disciplines and then have them pick their discipline because it suits them or they just love it. And building on top of that, that's something different. Not a lot of people are doing something like that. That's awesome that you guys have that in place.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of different approaches to training and placement. So you really need companies who need helper, apprentices, level people to engage with you, and then you kind of match their need, right? Like, then you go out, and you got some students with you here today, I understand.
Yeah, we have some examples here.
Can we bring them up?
Yeah. You want the students? You want the apprentices?
Let's bring them all.
So
Hey, you know what, bro? We're still all apprentices of life, man. So it doesn't even matter, right? We're still students. We're still learning.
Hey, Ben, can you bring some chairs over?
Oh, you gotta ask Kevin. Ben left.
Ben has left the building. It's Kevin now.
So I think it's pretty awesome that you brought the team with you, man, because looking back, like, a show like this can kind of change your mind to how big the industry is. Like, everyone says that the flooring industry is very, very small, but big at the same time.
Yeah.
And you kind of see that here where, I mean, you can walk from one side to the other a mile. And
Dude, I got 10,000
I
steps
know.
by 10 o'clock. Yeah.
He got here at 9:28.
All right. So, where's everybody from?
San Angelo.
How about you? From Mexico. Oh, what's your name? Kirsten Chavez. Mrs. Lopez. I'll leave it at that. Sorry, I'm not the. These things make it hard. Hi. Oh, Andrea. welcome. Brittany from Arlington. Jeremy from Texas as well. All right, so how'd this all come to be? How are they in Vegas with you, man?
Well, you were the top students. They were the top students. They showed commitment to the trade, and because they showed commitment, I want to show them the roadmap to our industry. It's not just being an installer and opportunity to go to different. There's a lot of manufacturers here. I met a lot of technical reps who used to have their own flooring company, now work for a corporation. So that's something that I want them to see, that there's a lot of opportunity in our industry. That is not, you're not just going to be installing flooring for the rest of your life. It's
Not unless you want to.
Yeah, unless you want to, because there's plenty of guys out there that, 60, 70 years old that we've known personally that they're like, this is just what I like doing, so that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but I do look forward to seeing one day one of them hopefully compete in the competition here.
I'd like to see all of them compete.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Crystal competing in the competition?
You might want to move that microphone. You're rooting for her?
Yeah.
We're all
You
rooting
got
for
some
her.
fans, Crystal.
So
Hey, you already
is-
had fans, but right?
Who's Crystal?
That's baby sister.
Yeah, so I'm glad that everybody, gets a chance to see like the youth coming in. That's what I think is special about what you're doing. However you're doing it, your secret sauce over there is awesome. I mean, all the profiles that I've looked at when you and I were talking, you tend to be able to attach yourself or attach NFCAP to the youth. That's important, right? Like, you don't have to, there's a lot of people that don't really know what path they're going to take when they get out of high school. And for you to be there or your organization to be there to help guide them along, dude, that is a piece of what's clearly missing. I mean, Steve Abernathy kind of touched on it earlier as well, but committing to the youth. So what does that look like for you guys? What attracted the youth and the diversity that you guys bring to the table, which I think is special?
Yeah, I think one of our biggest reasons why we get to see is because one of our partners is Job Corps.
Okay.
Job Corps has like 121 locations nationwide, and his students there, taking carpentry or BC2, which is builders construction technology. And so what we do is we target them at the school, and we present them the flooring trade, and they come out to see some presentation for a manufacturer to do a demonstration, and they do an application process, and they get interviewed, and the ones who really want to do it, you kind of tell after an interview, and they start the 8-week intro to flooring, touch everything, and then we figure out if they really want to do this or not.
And is this at a given location, or do you do it at multiple places? How do you operate that?
So they went through Gary Job Corps, which is in San Marcos, Texas. That was the first one we opened up about 2 years ago. But now we have Dallas, which is McKinney, Texas, and we have San Francisco, which is in California. Those are our 3 locations we have right now. But we're not planning to grow like those 3 locations. I think we want to do now is just go in, do a presentation, be in the gym court, and then tell them, hey, we want to do flooring. Come to this school in San Marcos and do flooring. So bring them from different parts of the country and then send them back where they're from.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So what level or what time frame are your students in currently?
Well,
And I should have let you just introduce them.
Yeah.
Than me trying that weird, like, what's your name? And I can't hear him anyway because I got my dang
You
headphones on.
sound like the ice cream.
how long you been working at Jane Artel? 8 months.
Jane Artel with
Aaron.
Aaron,
Oh, that's cool.
We worked with Aaron.
Yeah, she's good peeps, man. She's real good peeps.
And how long you been there? 8 months.
8 months.
So 8 months. Yeah, they took the town sit around. So they're doing their apprenticeship for town sitter. These two are currently still in school. They're going to graduate soon. They were put in March. She made the decision to take the wood route, and she made the decision to be a tile setter. So we'll place them with companies that.
Nobody wants to do resilient. Man.
I mean, honestly, if you look at social media, a lot of the female
And
Why
it
you're
takes
taking around
that detail.
Yeah,
you
there's
know,
a lot.
it
Yeah.
takes
There's a lot.
there's
Look at-
detail there.
Right. Like the mosaics and stuff like that. It's the detail work in something like that. And I hope you guys go far in your career. We talked about the evolution of a career, and I hope you can see that here, how you're not going to be stuck. Learn as much as you can now to help you in your future later. And I commend Carlos and the program because right now, I mean, across the nation, the flooring installer is fighting for a seat at the table, and you're presenting that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a great
100%.
program, and thanks for like reaching out. I think that what I especially like about everything that we've done here today is that it's not about the manufacturer. We're at a trade show with the biggest manufacturers in the
I
world,
know.
and we're sitting here talking about
Training and
the most
speed.
important part of all that
Yeah.
in the world. But it is
and it would
it is
be-
the labor and the training and the opportunities that you guys are providing. So
It would be
It's
awesome
really
for
cool.
to get these manufacturers involved in the talking to you guys.
We're gonna
like
get
this,
there.
too. We'll get there one day.
we're gonna get there.
Great. We need that.
Yeah,
But they're listening too. They're listening too, right? And their moves are probably way more strategic than ours, but we're making moves. So,
yeah, we're throwing battle axes, and
Yeah.
they got drawings out and planning, but that's all right. So what's next? What are you guys doing at the rest of the show here?
We'll walk around and go to the competition, see a couple more, manufacturers, see some tools.
Yeah.
some new
we like
tools.
tools, dude. Love them.
Yeah, I know they want to go see some tools right now,
I don't blame you.
and then from there we're gonna go eat.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you for being on today, man. We appreciate it, and thanks for always reaching out. I know you're not a quiet one, so you got to be loud to make some change, and that's what you're doing.
No, I can't do it without you guys.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fight in him, dude. I mean,
Wait.
he has a Scorpio. He's got an awesome birthday too. So
You guys have the same birthday?
yeah,
We got
we
the
do.
same birthday. How'd you forget my birthday, man?
Huh?
You didn't even text me,
I
bro.
messaged you on the 10th. And you said, how do you know my birthday? Well, I looked at your ID like 2 years ago.
That's funny. All right. Well, thanks for joining. And it looks like we got one more. You guys enjoy the show, ladies. Have fun. I'm glad you guys were able
Hey,
to
thanks
come.
for taking the time
Oh,
to
hey,
sit down.
before you run, Carlos, what's the easiest way for a company that may want to get in touch with you? What's the easiest way outside of like Googling?
Well, you know what? I'll give you my direct line. My phone number is 305-972-2232.
We told you he's bold.
And we got the link up right here too.
And guess what? You have no excuses anymore. You have a direct line.
Yeah. So, Carlos, get ready for your phone to blow up.
Yeah, you gotta think about that.
All right, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, brother.
Whoopsie. Hey, I got you, Dion.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, made it.
I made it.
You've been hovering around
Mr.
for a minute.
Scott Banda. Panda. Scott Banda.
You got it, Paul.
I thought we
Well, I
already
fumbled
established-
everybody else's name. I figured yours is too easy. I got to fumble it somehow. So,
He's got to make
well,
it
welcome, man.
intentional.
What's going on today?
Just really chatting it up with a lot of people. The
Yeah.
show's great. A lot of activity here.
It's
been great.
It's busy, right? It's been busier than the past years, honestly. I mean,
I think so.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So Scott is with FloorCloud. If you don't know about FloorCloud, just a quick overview, and I'll let Scott take it from there. But FloorCloud is basically a remote job site monitoring system, and he'll give you more information here. But instead of driving 4 hours to your job site to see what the site conditions are and see if the concrete moisture is within industry standards, look up FloorCloud, and you can get it right from your desktop. So Scott, welcome. Give us a little
Thank
bit of
you.
information, a little more detail than what I just did there on
Sure.
FloorCloud.
Sure. So FloorCloud, it's a solution that we basically built for contractors, small, large, medium, general contractors, really across all trades. We started the company focused on flooring because that's where my partner and I basically came out of. And it allows contractors to remotely monitor their job sites. So you mentioned the concrete moisture. That's in partnership with Wagner Meters.
Yep.
And those are the probes that are essentially monitoring the relative humidity in the slab as well as the slab temp. But we also have sensors that, I have one here for you, but these are basically sensors that go on the wall, and these measure ambient temperature, humidity, dew point, and track GPS location. So the concept here is that these are tracking site conditions and then every hour sending up data through the cellular network. So there's no Wi-Fi involved. They're looking for passwords or anything like that. And what we're doing is we're measuring the site conditions against the manufacturer's specifications.
I think this is just to jump in. This is where magic happens. Go ahead.
So we have a database with over 10,000 products in there, and those are the product specs. So for all your flooring products, your primers, self-leveling underlayments, adhesives, what we're doing is we're comparing those site conditions against those specs. And if things go out of spec, for example, if a general contractor or building owner actually turned off controls, and it got too hot, too
That
cold.
never happens.
You guys probably have never
never.
seen that in your life, right? You will get a notification, a push notification in real time. So the concept is that the contractor can take corrective action to avoid something really mushrooming into a big problem, like bubbling, gapping, all that stuff. You guys.
Yeah, all the issues.
Yeah.
And you can save yourself some time driving out to a job site and tossing a probe into, or your reader into the Wagner probe to find out that you are still not within tolerance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Save yourself some time.
Now, is
increase
this something
efficiencies.
that like you can keep in even after installation to monitor the site still?
Yeah, so not really on the Wagner side, because once you cover up that, you're going to have issues with communication.
Okay, because it's Bluetooth, right?
Correct. But with our sensors, you can still monitor the ambient conditions. And we have people doing that, actually, where they'll keep them behind for a month or even a couple months, just to really help, again, protect the contractor. I can tell you guys there's been a lot of situations where, luckily, a contractor will have these on there for another month. And then, for example, if a general contractor cools the building too quickly,
Well,
we'll get notifications.
We've been in a situation, because we live in Michigan, where we're running on temporary heat, and
That's
something
what I was
happens.
going to say. Temp heat, that's
the
the one.
propane will run out, the electricity will run, a breaker will pop or something, and you got nothing.
That's exactly right. So, and that's normally what happens is we detect when that starts to change. We make it very easy for the contractor, our contractor, to share the data with just a click of a button. They can share a graph with the GC or their owner, and the information comes over very professional and very detailed. So it's really not questioned. And then corrective action is usually taken on behalf of GC or the owner. They get in there and they'll fix the situation, because no one really wants to have warranty problems. And that's
Not at all.
Well, and they don't have to take your word for it.
correct.
This is what happens sometimes, right? You're out on a job site and you say your moisture's high, and they, or there's a, you think the temperature's out of whack, or the humidity's too high, or whatever the site condition may be. The GC, a lot of times we
It's
ran in,
fine.
oh, it's all right. Are you sure? Blah 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 blah.
No, we don't turn it off on the weekends.
Or I thought it was this or that or the other. It just takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, I think. That's one of the things I see as huge value. That, and obviously, automatically, if you feed your software what products you have, it'll tell you, I believe it tells you in a red light or something, a signal.
Something real easy to read.
Yeah,
They're very easy.
that hey, this product is outside of, or the site conditions are outside this product's recommended level.
Yep.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're talking about here is protection on all sides, right? Now you're protecting the integrity of the product, you're protecting the installer because you have the information, you're protecting the end user so that way their product doesn't fail, essentially.
Exactly.
And science doesn't lie.
You got it.
Science doesn't lie.
We need him on our website saying that exact comment. But that's exactly
we can
right.
talk about that right after this.
No, that's right.
So, and this is me probably going on, but this would be beneficial. Like, I know this is geared towards commercial, but it'd almost be beneficial towards like a large wood project or a custom wood job.
Oh,
in
I
a
can't
home.
imagine it wouldn't be beneficial in a home,
No.
even with the
For an end user who's got to keep the RH in the home within certain parameters in order for their floor to perform well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We're actually involved with the NWFA, and we have customized a couple.
I'm always late with the good ideas, man. I'm always late.
You're right on, and we're now we really started focused on the more commercial focused contractors, but things are really rolling out well there. So now we're really going into more residential as well, because there's a lot of luxury vinyl, plank, and wood going into homes all the time.
Yeah,
Same
I
problem.
mean, a site is a site.
Yeah, exactly.
And the conditions that are needed for these floorings are. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a commercial building or a house.
Exactly.
Still needs it.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's where it goes. Like, this is going to help people understand that manufacturer requirements really aren't or recommendations that really aren't recommendations.
Yeah,
They're
these
requirements.
let's call them requirements.
Yeah.
Your claim will get denied if it's not within the recommendations. I thought it was just a recommendation.
It's suggested. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
So go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I talked to you a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know to what size of a company would utilize this best or what it's geared for as far as the type of company, but it almost sounds like if you're not investing into it, you're not really protecting yourself. And not to like put a plug in for you like that, but with the whole science doesn't lie thing, like that is something that probably should be talked about a little bit more and bring to light the importance of the temperature and the tracking of the projects.
Well, it's certainly talked about when things fail. So let's talk about just preventing the failures, right?
That's right.
Prevent yourself from putting down flooring outside the requirements of the floor, and you guys help with that in a very economic and efficient way. So
that's right. Yeah. Just on that point, we do have a report that you can generate that is really a submittal document. So it gets once you connect the products that you're going to work with in the software, you can generate a one-pager that you can easily send off to the owner or the GC about what the manufacturer's specs are for each of the products that you're going to install. So that can start the conversation early about the type of conditions that you need. And it doesn't make the contractor look like they're being difficult. Like, here are the parameters specified by the manufacturer so that everybody gets the warranty that, essentially the owner is looking to.
So essentially they can stop blaming us installers for being too picky.
That's right.
And you have a document that's saying this is what's required. Like it's not me saying it, it's the manufacturer saying that this is what's required.
Oftentimes it gets blamed on any number of things when it comes down to it, but they think we just don't have the manpower, or you just don't want to, come to the job site for some other reason. No, man, like these, I've been through failures. They are very, very costly, and it always costs the flooring contractor first. Like,
just your time.
Even if it's a manufacturer's defect or something, who pays for it out of the gate? Like, I'm not going to let my client just sit with curled LVT for 6 months, right? Until the claim gets figured out, right? We're going to cover it and then fight the manufacturer. So, just cover yourself on the front side, and FloorCloud's a great way to do that. So what kind of training is needed from a, for a company? Like, how long does it take to implement FloorCloud into a company?
That's a great question. So we designed it to be super simple. So literally our training takes place in 15 minutes or less.
We love super simple.
Is this a plug and play?
It is as simple as download the app, and you guys here's the sensor, right? But once these come in, there's a QR code on the front. So you download the app, essentially charge that, and then you scan the QR code on the front, and it's activated, and it's basically recording data and populating that data on your phone, desktop, tablet within 30 minutes.
And how long does the battery last on this?
3-month battery life.
Whoa.
You can leave it plugged in with a cord indefinitely, and then you can recharge it within like 2 hours back to 100%.
Really? So
that's good.
So plugging with the cord, can you hardwire it in or anything?
You just said you can leave it plugged in.
You can leave it plugged in.
So
I
mean, you're not going to wire it into the building systems there.
Like a fire alarm system, right? Like a fire alarm system.
I guess, if you really want to cover yourself for,
maybe.
Yeah.
I was going to touch on one thing, Paul, when you mentioned about showing up and pushing back when the site's ready. So one of the most common uses is the contractors will put these on the site like a couple weeks or a month in advance, and then you're getting the readings yourself on really the readiness of that property. So
that's where I see the best value.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go set that thing when I'm supposed to start. I want to go set this thing a month ahead of time. I mean, we're doing a huge hospital in Western Kansas, and it's going to be, it's latter part of this year, maybe even first quarter of next year before we start. But it's 4 hours away.
Yeah.
I want to set this thing in there, a month beforehand or 2 months beforehand, and monitor it myself and let the G. I mean, and how much more professional you look when you tell the GC, like, we're only 4 weeks out, and it looks like you're far outside the deal.
Yeah.
You probably need to be
Time
really
to get that
focused.
HVAC on.
Like, the HVAC needs on.
It's
We
not
need to
ready.
get the building closed up. You got a month of time. You become a resource or an
That's
asset to your GC in those, because they don't have this. Not, I mean, they could have it,
starting
but
to
I'm
get
just
it,
saying.
but chances are you're going to be the
Chances are you're going to be on
innovator.
a job site that your
the
GC doesn't have it, and you can provide a great service.
Exactly.
That's how I look at it. That's where I thought that the outside the value of like monitoring and protecting yourself from failures, just not sending 5 guys or 8 guys 4 hours away just to turn around and come back because it ain't ready.
Well, you can have those conversations early too. It makes the conversation so much easier because it's not an installer or a company making recommendations or shoving the process down someone's throat or just being prima donna. These are the facts, guys. You have the same information that I have.
That's right.
Let's have a conversation so we can fix this before it becomes an issue.
So on that point of having the same data, we have some clients that put their general contractor on the system. So essentially, they're seeing that data. So if you have a good relationship with some GCs, which a lot of you guys basically have your kind of core GCs, you put them on the projects. It's another way to get super tight with them. They get the same data you see, and it just kind of brings it all together.
That actually adds more value to them as well. I mean, you're providing them with something that they didn't have before.
Exactly.
So you're protecting yourself. You're providing a benefit for them. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, FloorCloud's got you covered when it comes to site conditions. Carrera's got you covered when it comes to like video on site. Once your crew does get there, shoot a link video with them, walk the job site. Then you got 2 reports. You got a report that's going to tell you the site conditions, and then you got a report that downloads out of Carrera that'll give you the actual video and the visual feed proving that everything's out of there. Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
It's good.
So you get them both, and you got your job sites covered, bro.
You're totally covered.
Yeah,
totally.
Scott, we definitely appreciate you. We're kind of getting kicked out of the podcast booth right
Psych
now,
you
though.
guys had.
dude, I'm glad you got on.
Yeah,
we were running a little bit behind. I'm glad you got on here. FloorCloud's a great service to our industry. I'm glad you guys came up with it. I'm a little jealous, and but that being said, congrats for all the success. I see you guys out there a lot, and you got to be doing something right when you're walking up on the big LED and FloorCloud's on there, baby.
Right?
Made me smile. Scott, thanks for coming,
Thanks.
brother.
Yeah, thanks.
Really
man.
appreciate it.
And look forward to more success for you. Let us know what we can do for you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. This was a long podcast today, even though we were late. And make sure you're liking and subscribing and giving us some feedback. We'd love to hear anything that you got to say.
Yeah, like we presented a bunch of stuff today. We would love to know how you feel about each item. I mean, get on there, tell us about FloorCloud, tell us about what you think our approach with training and how we can better not only the situation from a labor standpoint, but how can we work together with the industry just even deeper.
Right. We got one of your installers on here. He says Derek McDaniel. He said that he was glad to be able to watch us live, and he loves the content, and he really loves seeing the younger people getting involved, and so do we. So we can't wait to keep the conversation going and have some more younger guys on here.
Shout out to Derek. He's a stud.
Looks like they're getting their security's getting their tasers
Okay,
out,
we got to go before we get handcuffed.
Just hopefully, if a takeaway for this for anybody watching who isn't in the flooring industry or just starting or who wants to advance their career is basically my takeaway is that there's a lot of different opportunities. It's not just installation. There's a lot of different opportunities in this industry. So check into it, man. Give it a chance.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
We're out. Ready,
on
break.
the next one. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the Installer of the Year competition
Amen,
announcement.
baby. Yeah.
Let's go
Thanks.
crew school.